I get a great cut, baby.
You and I.
Girl, now you the ginger me. If you know how you the cause it drop. Shit, you know go one person. Love the way you the dance, girl. I am remedy. Why they call love fire? Mommy, be cool. Let's hop in my Maserati. Baby, hop in my Maserati. I said hop in my Maserati. Hop in my Maserati. Girl, I wanna see you go down. Yeah, say me I love the way you bend body. Hop in my Maserati. Baby, hop in my Maserati. And I just wanna see you right. Somebody needs somebody. My body needs your body. I'm more check out color be you. Somebody needs somebody. My body needs your body. I'm more check out color be you. Let me give you butterfly. Say now you dey mesmerize me. I'm out to show to civilize. Anywhere you go, I go follow. When I up the music, make it go low. And I go give you steady on the slow. Baby, don't dull, make a ginger. Shawty, I know you like to party. I'm out to jump on me. Show my body, shit. Yeah, baby, come on, God. Innocent, nobody. I'm gonna make you happy. Make you happy.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Toyin Umasiri, and I am the host for the Day 2 Nigeria Investment Conference. I want to welcome everyone from around the world, most especially our honorable speakers. Thank you so much for joining us, for your time. I also want to say a big thank you again to the Nigerian House, the Nigerian Consulate General out of New York, represented by Honorable Nicholas Ella. I want to thank the Nigerian government. Yes, please. Okay, let's do that again. Please, Honorable Ella, New York, wave.
Thank you.
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Thank you for Day 2. Thank you for being such a great part of this engagement and helping us with facilitating engagement also from the other agencies back home in Nigeria. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Also, I'm seeing here Sir Jackson. Oh, yes. Please say hello. Thank you. Good morning from Nigeria. Representing the Nigeria. Yes, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. I look forward to hearing you speak today, sir. Thank you so much. Barrister Kola, thank you so much for yesterday, your presentation yesterday. We got so much rave reviews. So much rave reviews from yesterday. I see also, yes, I also see Honorable Chief Anthony. Good morning. I'm going to officially introduce you because you're our first speaker, but I just wanted you to also wave. Thank you so much for joining us today from the Kano State Government. I see our speaker, Awa Mustafa, joining us today. Please wave. She's here in the US, but her husband is stationed in Nigeria working for the Kano State Government, and she's going to share a lot with us about the northern Nigeria, the empowering women, youth, and education in the northern side of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us today as well. I see Francis and Tony. Please, thank you so much for joining us. Yes. Can you see us? Thank you so much.
Yes, I can see you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to representative of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. I'm not going to mix that up again. They, yesterday they were able to correct it. So yes, we're going to go ahead and get started. We know there are different ways for people to be a part of today's event. We're also live streaming this morning's session, courtesy of Nazaru. And we know in the trade platform, people are watching, they're commenting. We want to hear your question, your comments. And if you have questions, just like yesterday, drop it in the comment box or the Q&A box, and we'll be able to get right to it. So this morning, I'm going straight to our first honorable speaker. Yesterday, sir, Honorable Chief Anthony, you started speaking, and one of the feedback I got, one of the journalist was like, Toyin, we want to hear more from him. And I said, yes, tomorrow morning is going to be our first speaker. So don't worry, come prepared. So I also say good morning to, our ladies and gentlemen of the press that are joining us as well. The Nigerian News Agency is also represented. Thank you so much. So all protocols duly observed. I know I cannot name everybody, but thank you to all the government officials. Thank you for the private sector engagement. This engagement is about how. It's not just about what the opportunities are, but it's about how. So our speakers are hand-selected to show us how to trade and invest in Nigeria. So my first speaker today is Honorable Chief Anthony Onyeah. He's the Senior Special Assistant. So let me bring him spotlight as I read his bio. His full bio is on the platform, but I just want to spotlight a few things. So Honorable Chief Anthony Onyeah is the Senior Special Assistant to the Kano State Governor on Lagos affairs. He has served in the private sector, working for companies such as Standard Alliance Insurance, EcoBank, Paxson American Nigeria Limited, Oceanic Bank. He has also served in Geneva, Switzerland at the International Trade Center, World Trade Organization. He holds a master's in international trade from Aberdeen Business School, Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen, Scotland. And he holds a bachelor's of economics from the University of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. Sir, it's such an honor. I think you're the man of the moment. So many people reach out to me and said, Toyin, why did you stop him yesterday towards the head? I was like, I'm sorry. He's going to be our first speaker today. I wanted him to save the best for this morning. So you have the floor. Please go on, sir.
Thank you, Toyin. I'm honored to be here. And it's good to see Mr. Arnold again. I haven't met him in person, but he was instrumental to one of the projects I just finished on the leather industry, powerhouse in Kano. And Mr. Aware, good to meet you again today. I'm honored. What is my office about? I'm very sure Hajiatu would be interested to know what I do. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay, so in 2018, the governors of Lagos and Kano states came together after His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari put together the PEBEC. I'm very sure we are familiar with PEBEC. That's the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, under the chairmanship of the Vice President. Please, anytime you lose me, let me know. Hello?
Okay. You said anytime we lose you, we should let you know.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So, after PEBEC was formed, the two governors of Lagos and Kano states thought it fit that, okay, we should come together, sign a partnership, and promote trade and services of both states. Now, Lagos is one of the, it's the next center, it's a commercial center for businesses in Nigeria. Kano, the same thing, and they have similar population size, So the partnership is to promote investment, is to promote public-private partners, it's to drive investments into both states. Now, my office, the office of the on Lagos affairs, is somewhat like an ambassador. Like you have, every state has a licensing office. The licensing officers are administrators of the licensing office. My office is more of, I report directly to the state government, and I seek partners. I go to people and I say, okay, Kano has this, come to Kano and invest. Lagos has this, from Kano come to Lagos and invest. So basically, there are times that I've been called that have been called an ambassador for both states, so to say. That said, why did we do this? KANU knew what had happened in the past in 2003, in 2013 with the crisis, and they had lost so much. People were afraid to come into KANU, unsafe environment and all of that. So the governor of KANU said, with so much investment in infrastructure, education, healthcare, needed people to come back KANU to invest, because already we were beginning to lose investments in KANU State, So we had to come to Lagos, because Lagos is always the first stop for investors in Nigeria. So when you come to Lagos, you go to Lagos Global, you talk to the Lagos state government, you say, see, I'm a businessman, I want to invest in Nigeria. And they say, oh, Lagos, you can invest in Lagos. But the truth is, Lagos is overpopulated. Everyone has run out of KANU. We need people to come back to KANU and invest. So I sit here in Lagos, I work with the Lagos state government, I relate with the different ministries. Now, I was speaking about the doing business in Nigeria 46 last year. Now, I want to read out how this report is scored, how you rank. Now, one of the criteria is for starting a business. Lagos and KANU State has ensured that they work closely with the CAC to ensure registration is seamless. People understand how to start small businesses. You heard Mr. Pola speaking yesterday about MSMEs and all of that. The government, the state government, the federal government, the state governments have ensured that small business registration is seamless. So that is one score that scores doing business in Nigerian report. The next one is construction permits. You want to construct. How quick are the permits? You come in as an investor into the country. How quick are those permits? How do you get them? The bottlenecks and everything. One thing KANU State did was to come to Lagos and say, Lagos, how do you guys do your things? How is it done? We want to learn. We want to know. That was one essence of the partnership that we signed with Lagos State. So Lagos has said to us, see, we have public-private partners. We do not depend on the federal government solely. Taxes, public-private partnerships, and all of that. So one of the things, construction permit for infrastructure. The next thing is electricity, access to electricity for small businesses. We know that the federal government has pushed out the metering system. One thing KANU State did was to ensure that smaller communities had access to those meters. Smaller businesses have access to those meters. We see the same thing in Lagos too. Yes, it takes a lot of time, but you have access. So that is one thing that has caught us. Now, another thing is registering properties, registration of properties. As an investor, you come in the registration of properties. Then the one that we did not get a score for is getting credit, access to credit. That's one thing that disrupts businesses in Nigeria. Now, another thing we didn't get a score for was protecting minority investors. Protecting minority investors. We didn't get a score for that one. Then paying taxes. Paying taxes. I remember when His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Ganduje came to Lagos after that partnership, we were asking questions. What's happening? How are your roads being fixed? Lagos State has that nature for taxes. Pay your tax, your roads are fixed. Pay your tax, you get basic amenities, access to basic amenities. So KANU State, the KANU State governor went back and he started the same approach in KANU, So another thing that's called now, paying taxes, this was high though. Cross-border trading was one thing that scored us. Unfortunately, we are seeing the conversation around the closure of borders and all that, but we also see the conversation around how goods and services are moved from the north, Kano specifically, into Lagos, Mile 12 market. You see it, tomatoes, farm produce, it's coming, it's seamless. The abattoir in Lagos is huge. Most of the animals are coming from the north, they're coming from Kano. So it's huge. So cross-border relations is one thing that's caught us high. Now, enforcing contracts is on our side. Now, why have I listed all of this? Is that the World Bank report is based on 2 states, Lagos and Kano. 2 major states, Lagos and Kano, are the reason why we've been scored up. So this partnership of Lagos and Kano has helped the economy, so to say, over time. And if you go back to history, you see how transatlantic trade, the Saharan trade, how it kept up those days in Kano. I grew up in Kano. I remember going to a market, and it's called, is it Singer Market? And you see people still pushing cash, bags of cash in wheelbarrows, because trade is going on, trade is going on, daily trade is going on in Kano. You go to Kano, you see trade. Recently, Toyin was one of my attendees at my summit. She spoke at the summit on the leather industry. We had a designer, his name is Adebakare. We went to see him, to speak to him about investing, because he's a designer for bags and all of that. So we said, see, Adebakare, where do you get your leather? He said, Moroccan leather, get some from the UK. So a few days later, he calls me up and said, see, I called my customer and he told me that the Moroccan leather I buy from him is actually gotten from Kano State. The Moroccan leather is gotten from Kano. You see Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and all of those designers use, they come to Kano and they get that leather. So I had to put together players in the industry, direct players in the industry. And I said, see, what is the problem? Why are we exporting leather, and yet Nigerians that are making bags, shoes, wallets, belts, they still find it hard to find good leather, And one thing we found out was people are not aware. Now, it's my responsibility as SSA to the governor on Lagos affairs to make people aware, to tell them about the leather. Now, Nigeria has over 32 tanneries. 26 of them are based in Kano. 26 of those tanneries are in Kano State. I know for sure that Lagos State right now is trying to come up with its own leather processing plant somewhere at Agbara, Badagry area. Because if the industries in Kano are failing, the next point of investment for investors to come in is Lagos. So one thing the summit did for us was to find industries that have been there for 3 decades. Say, okay, get us the land in Lagos and we would come. We would have a subsidiary, so to say, a subsidiary of our industry in Kano here in Lagos. Like I said yesterday, one of the issues we face in Kano for the factories is power. The gas pipeline passes through Lagos, so you find those industries working because gas is cheap, so they have access to power, As for Kano, with the AKK project, that has been signed by the federal government and the Kano state government and Kaduna state government. We're hoping that in future, the industries will pick up, because industries in Kano spend so much. That is why you find Kano indigenes, private sector indigenes, players like Bua, their concentration is here. Like Dangote, their concentration is here, you know, because where they started in Kano is failing in their businesses, you know, and we are saying to them, okay, can we find alternative sources to allow those industries work? You know, you were speaking of fabric. Is it fabric? Toyin, you were speaking about was it Ankara? Was it Ankara?
Yes,
or,
apparels, yes.
Yes, in Kano. Okay, let me say here, I grew up in Kano. And as a young man in Kano, my dad was the military governor of Kano State at one time, and I would go on tours with him in Kano. And I went to this factory. They were making cotton, white cotton fabrics. And I asked my dad, wow, so much fabrics. What are they using it for? Is it for bedsheet? And the guy in the factory, I think at that time was Gestia Textiles. He said that they export these fabrics to Saudi Arabia, to Mecca for the Hajj. You know, at that time, that was way back in 2006, you know, they were exporting those fabrics to Saudi Arabia, to Mecca from Kano, you know. Till this day, fabrics is so cheap in Kano that I have found trade partners, some women here in Lagos at the Balogun market. They came to me and they said, Oga, we hear you from Kano, sir. How can we get businesses in Kano? And I said, what do you do? And they said, they buy Ankara. So I got them connected to some traders in Kano and direct purchase. They don't have to travel from Lagos. They stay in Lagos and their orders are made and brought in for them. Fabrics, huge loads of fabrics, you know. So you cut out that middleman for them. You know, so basically, my office bridges that gap for trade, investment possibilities, and for new ideas for state partnerships. We've seen the state partnership work with Lagos and Kebbi on the lake rice. We've seen it, agricultural partnership. We've seen it work on the lake rice, you know. The Lagos state government provided the land, the farmers from Kebbi State farm, the rice is produced and is made cheap, accessible to people that want to buy it. I don't know how that partnership is working now, but the Kano state government decided to do more, not just agriculture, but infrastructure, technology. Now, Kano state has its own LASMA. It's called Karauta. We have our own neighborhood watch. You know, we've come to Lagos to adopt. In the nearest future, you will be seeing Kano State run its own BRT service. Because what we've done is we have built connecting infrastructures, road network in Kano, broad road network in Kano. You know, Lagos, right now we boast in Kano that Lagos has one underpass in Maryland. Kano has over 15 underpasses for accessibility, road networks in Kano State. So if you have questions for, I'll just stop here right now. If you have questions for me, then
I mean, this is, okay. For me, this is wonderful, because what I try to say is that economic development happens at a local level. A lot of times, you know, people outside of Nigeria, so foreign investors and regional trade partnerships, they look at Nigeria through the lens of federal government, right? Ministers and all of that. But for me, one of the important things we try to do is to highlight the state's local, you know, stakeholders like yourself that can actually move the engine and move the conversation forward faster. That's what I see. Because here in the US as well, economic development actually is city by city, county. It grows that way out to the federal level, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So what you've just shared with us is incredible. If anybody has questions, we're going to introduce, bring them on. But for me, my mind is just saying, okay, within Nigeria, you've just enlightened us in terms of the size. You said something around Kano and Lagos being the two contributors towards the World Bank doing index index for Nigeria. So these two states are important. You also told us how, yes, sir.
Yeah, it might also interest you to know that there's a settlement. There's a, should I say, there's a local government in Lagos called Agege. If you are familiar with Agege, when I took up this appointment, I needed to identify with the Kano State indigents in Lagos because it's also part of my responsibility. And I went to Agege, and the head of the how would I call it, Hausa community in Agege is referred to as the Serikin Hausawa Agege. And I went to his palace to pay him homage. He's from Kano State. And he told me that since 1932, the Northerners, the first settlers in Lagos, were from Kano. When they used to trade through the rail lines, they bring in kola nuts and everything from Kano. And they settled in Agege. They actually named the place Agege. And from there, they began to move. So they moved from Agege to Idiaraba to Apapa, Apapa to Obalende, and the spread of the Arewa people began in Lagos, starting from trade from Kano into Lagos, as at that time, way back in 1932, If you go to Agege, they are intermarried. I mean, you see the Kano man has married the Lagos woman, or the Hausa man has married the Yoruba woman. So they become part and parcel of the community. It's huge. One thing that interests me is during the Salah festival, they hold a Durbar in Agege, huge Durbar. What am I trying to say? In Lagos alone, because of the business environment that they've played in their contribution to the economy of Lagos State, and I bet you they contribute immensely to the economy of Lagos State. It has made Lagos work. It has made the economy of Lagos work. Now, that is for the settlers. Now, these settlers also have families back in Kano that are taking trade and investment back and forth. So it's not just business, it's creating a family to allow for investment to happen. The chairman of the Mile 12 market in Lagos is from Kano State. The chairman of the BDC in Lagos is from Kano State. So the community is growing, the business community is growing, and it has grown over time. So it's not just coming into a place and say, I want to do business. It's coming into a place and contributing to the development of that place where you stay. And it's the same thing you see in Kano, where the governor of Kano State has allowed non-indigenous to prosper, to thrive, to contribute to it. My office is the first of its kind. And I believe if other state governors can adopt such strategies, you don't have to worry about, no, Nigeria, let me make we divide. No. You see, that's cross-border trade, that relationship would help the economy grow. I just wanted to add that.
Yes. So a couple of questions for my side. How do we gain visibility to Kano's exports and Kano's imports? You know, and maybe this is something we can explore, because that's one. And then the other thing is, within the context of AFCFTA, right? Within the regional framework of beyond just Nigeria, how do we increase the visibility of Africa into Kano and then even beyond? Because honestly, with the global and regional standpoint, all people see is Lagos or Abuja because of the political epicenter. But with what you've just highlighted, in my mind, it's like, wow. Because interestingly, I was born in the north. I was born in Kaduna, Tundunwada. So I understand the intermarrying and the, even though my parents are Yoruba, I completely appreciate it. My birth certificate says I'm Kaduna. So Sono Yayaiki. So I only know how to say hello, but so I have an appreciation, a great appreciation, unique appreciation for everything you just shared. So wonderful to help us understand the current state, but could you also share with us the vision that you have and that your governor has for the future, and how those in the diaspora, those in Nigeria, those watching, those that would even access this content later, how can they plug in specifics to what sector, and how can they work with your office? Or even for those that reach out to us, how can we accelerate trade and investment with your office?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Tony. I'm from Delta State. Like I said, I grew up in Kano, and no sentiments, because one of the biggest issue we face in Nigeria is sentiment. I remember when the reports came that there is going to be a rail line running from Jigawa, Kano into Niger. So many people became sentimental. But they left out the fact that, could it be because of the AFTA agreement? Could it ensure that trade is seamless between these borders? Niger is close to these states. So Kano State is taking the opportunity of that rail line, because already Kano does not have a seaport. But over time, history has shown that Kano still trades with other African countries. So through the borders, and all of that. Now, if this rail line will help the trade, then it's a welcome development to His Excellency, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, if it will help the trade. Because it is so expensive now, because one of the ways that trade happens in Kano is through the airports. Goods are flown in from Dubai, from Jeddah, and most of the Arab countries and the neighboring African countries, around Nigeria, Egypt, Niger, and all of that, Morocco and all of that. Like I said earlier, we heard that the Moroccan leather, that everyone shouts Moroccan leather, is actually from Kano. So trade has been happening over time. Now, if this agreement would help improve that trade, Kano is going to take that opportunity. Kano would take the opportunity, So I would say, if state governments, not the federal government in this case, if state governments have that access to border trade with other African countries, then they should tap into the agreement, not waiting for the federal government, because it will work for them, So that is why I first I first told you I'm from Delta. I'm not, so no sentiments to it, because I tried to explain to so many people that kept asking me, that rail line, when I want, I said, no, have you thought about trade, movement of goods and service being easy? So when the rail comes into Jigawa, then you can now connect to Kaduna, Abuja, from Abuja to Edo Delta, the rail line, Lagos, it's connecting. So at that point, there's a connection to trade for everyone in the different states. I believe that the state governors themselves, not the federal government, the state governors themselves should come up with a platform, a strategy to tap into this AFTCA agreement that is already on ground, because it would help for those. So the Kano state government already is taking that opportunity. And that's why it's building processes to ensure its industries are up, the infrastructural network is up, the road network is up, and all of that.
Wow. This is great, because one of the things that I'm hearing from you is a recommendation to use the Kano-Lagos partnership as a solid template to fast track trade in Nigeria. And you also talked about not just waiting for the federal, but for the states to actually embrace AFCFTA and tap into the rewards for their state. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah.
I think this is like headline news, that at the state level, each state in Nigeria must build their own which is what you're saying, build a strategy to benefit from AFCFTA.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Lagos already has the borders to do that with Seme, Benin, Ghana. Kano has the borders with Niger, Jigawa, and all of that. These are access routes for the trade to happen. So if this partnership is working, then investors, both inside the country and outside the country, can tap into it, because already these are the two biggest. Now, I'll tell you something. In Lagos, everyone is consuming. Everyone consumes. In Kano, there's production. So Kano has found a place to push its goods. They found that place. They found a place to bring Ankara, textile, finished products, and everything. Like we said, it might interest you, Toyin. After that summit on the leather thing, we started looking for contacts to Bata, because we want to say to them that Kano has leather. You heard what the stakeholders said. We have it. Come to us. We'll give you.
Yes.
But you cannot blame us if you have Italian companies wanting more.
Yes.
Italian companies wanting more. Well, you guys want 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, and we're just talking. Yes. Oh my God, we are just referencing a stakeholder engagement that we held several weeks ago, where we brought all stakeholders in the country around leather between Lagos and Kano. And one of the things, I don't know if people, if you remember, you talked about Kano already selling to the rest of Africa. I can actually attest to that, because the tannery chief, I don't know if you remember him saying, Nazaru, we met them in Egypt.
Yes.
He said that because
at the seminar.
Egypt. Yes, because what happened was, so I work with Afro-Exim Bank, and they hosted the Intra-African Trade Fair, which I'll share more at the end. And I was represented as an ambassador for IATF, and I was in Egypt. So I was walking the exhibition stands, and I went to the exhibition of Nexim Bank, so Nigerian Export-Import Bank and Bank of Industry. And right there was Tannery, Kano Tannery chief. Yes. And I did an interview with him. I did a picture of his leather, high quality leather, and he was exhibiting in Egypt. I was like, wow. So you're right. Kano, when it comes to leather, they're not waiting. They are playing
already,
internationally.
already.
And he also shared with us, and I want people to know that he said leather coming out of Kano globally is actually one of the top 10 highest quality leather in the world. I was like, wow, news to me. So this is so important. And I know this is not the end of our engagement. This is not the end of this conversation. So I want to also ask, and I want to welcome our speakers. I'm doing this because on my screen, our speakers are right here. Is what do you need? How can we help? For us, market access, there's also investment promotion, there's also export promotion. So I know where you and I will carry this conversation forward, but what do you also need from the other agencies here? They're here. Please.
You know, like I said, I've had the opportunity the honor to meet. I started planning this thing, and he told me the same thing we already know in Nigeria. You go to Aba, they are producing shoes, as in huge finished goods from leather. You come to Mushin in Lagos, the same thing is happening. You know, one thing we discussed was we're exporting leather, great. Nexim Bank, the export promotions, promoting the export of non-oil items or goods. But we have finished goods, beautiful goods. What is that country? I saw on CNN that has a high, they export cocoa and they buy chocolate so expensive, you know. It's the same thing we do for the leather, you know. So it is high time we take our brand, the Nigerian brand, the finished goods out there. Now the question is, why are these agencies more in concentration to exporting the raw materials when already we have a huge market? My shoes, my belt, my wallet is all made there in Mushin. And there's a saying somewhere that you know a man's worth from the shoes he wears. You know, you just look at this, feel like, this guy, a person for society, you know. I think it's high time these agencies help push those brands, that made in Nigerian brand, out, you know. What I see happening is, yes, they give money, SMEs and everything, but it's high time we begin to push the made in Nigerian brand, made from the Nigerian leather. So there will be more. So you're not just getting money from the exports, you are gaining money from the finished goods also. You gain money. So it's like the country that exports cocoa and buys chocolates. So if they had the process now, Rwanda, oh my gosh. When I was doing my research on the leather thing, Rwanda is not just exporting leather, exporting to other African countries the finished products. And they are gaining more. You gain more. So I would hope that we can find major players in the government agencies, in the private sector, say to us, let us find finished goods. Let us encourage this. You know, funny enough, when you go to Mushin, they are branding the belts with a foreign name.
Wow.
Not even made in Nigeria. I will buy it.
Yes.
You can't tell. They are branding with a foreign name. And we are buying it, you know. So I believe that there should be more concentration on ensuring that you get more investment from not just the raw materials, but from the finished goods.
Wow, that is fantastic, and actually leads us to the next speaker. But before I introduce the next speaker, I also want to ask, anybody wants to join Honorable Ella, Sir Arnold Jackson will be joining us soon because he's going to pick up where you are living and take it in, because you talked about Abba. Abba sits on his portfolio as well. So I'm sure he's going to be able to directly address the questions you
That guy
raised.
has more shoes than I can imagine, I'm very sure.
I know he's itching. He's itching. I can see his face. He's itching to respond. But maybe I should bring him on now. Let me introduce our next speaker, because this ties in perfectly. And Honorable Anthony, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. But stay tuned, because I know this is going to generate some very interesting engagement, because interaction, because what you said is going to, I believe is going to pick up from that, because Sir Jackson is with the Nigerian Exports Promotion Agent. So let me officially introduce him. So I'm going to bring him on now to the screen, but Honorable Chief Anthony, please stay on standby, because I'm sure you'll be able to interact with him as well. Thank you so much. So our next speaker, let me bring him on. Yes, the man of the moment. Oh, Sir Arnold Jackson is the Deputy Director and Regional Coordinator for Enugu Regional Office at the Nigerian Export Promotion Agency. He has responsibility for Anambra, Abakaliki, Abia, Enugu, and Imo, all the states of the southeast of Nigeria. Aba, like people who know Aba, is an epicenter for productive manufacturing, and it's a productive force in Nigeria. And it also ties to what Honorable Anthony just talked about in terms of leather, shoes, and everything being branded. So for us to win on the Made in Nigeria concept, Sir Jackson's region has to, take us there. So, sir, you have the floor. You are the man of the moment. I'm going to get out of the spotlight. Please, we welcome you. Thank you so much for being such a great supporter of this platform. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Tony. I don't like spotlight. Honorable Onea, I just want to thank you. I listened to you partly yesterday, though we spoke on this same letter some few weeks back, and on the platform you had, and I threw in some light into what we are also doing. You see, when we're talking about diversification of export or economy, for us, if we add value, that is exactly what it is, because when you add value, you will have a premium of any product. The emphasis of the council, which I represent, is on the value addition for the product we export. You were talking about this, and that's apparently, I think, Cote d'Ivoire. I think I also listened to that, what do you call it, that documentary on the CNN when they talk about, Cote d'Ivoire is the highest producer of cocoa. But when, I think it was Richard Quest that did that documentary, when they send the cocoa, the raw cocoa to Netherlands and all other part of the country, now they send it back even in Nigeria, the same thing happens here. A bar of Mars chocolate, you might need maybe 2 or 3 seeds of cocoa with sugar. And when they bring it back, you buy for as much as almost 400, 300 and something, almost 400 naira for one chocolate bar, small one. So for us, it is a minus. The same thing, Barrister Kola spoke on cashew. It's the same thing that is happening today. Where we send raw cashew to Vietnam and the rest of those things, they process that and maybe they send it back to us, and it becomes a challenge because you have to pay. And it is what we talk about. In fact, to even buttress the aspect of this, what I'm saying now, there's a list of prohibited items. The leather we're talking about, we can't export wet blue. It is under export prohibition list. You cannot export, you must add value. Why are you sending these things to people? The so-called made in Nigeria, we have championed, we have promoted this. And I remember in our former Minister of State for Commerce then, was the major. We went to Kano, we went to, on the same letter, we went to Sokoto. She apparently said that that's where she's from there originally, and this leather originated from there. So we try to do a lot of things to promote. But you see, the problem we have is that over a period of time, people have started having a quest for foreign-made good, which is what makes people. And I'm just coming back from Aba this morning. I went to Aba this morning, I just come back. And we've been trying to work on this same thing, because what we are trying to do in Aba is, don't just say made in, there's this stigmatization, which we also try to correct. That was part of the things, like a value reorientation. Most of the shoes that is made in Aba goes to Brazil, Spain, and even Dubai. And they now put them made in Dubai, and they bring it back to us and sell to, we've done that and we've discovered that, and it's a very saddening thing for us. So we are also trying to tell them, listen, be bold enough to say made in Nigeria and sell it. That's why later in Aba, the NEPC, UNIDO, and the state government, we partnered with the UNIDO to open what we call the Common Facility Center. The idea was to have that place when you produce, because we found that the finishing of those leather works was very, very poor. And that was why I said, Aba made. So it became like a stigma. When they want to downgrade you or maybe look at what you wear and say, Aba made. And people now tend to distance themselves from the product from Aba because they feel, it's inferior. And that's what we're trying to do, to change the orientation and let the people understand that you can make, wear the Aba product, both leather, anything leather product from Aba. As far as I'm concerned, I have shoes that is made in Aba. I wear them. I've gone to both apparel and leather product. That's the hub. And we need to tell people that you can always wear these things, and people won't understand where these things are made. Don't belittle yourself by saying, when you say I'm made in Aba, some of them in Aba will put there made in Italy. And this thing is not made in Italy. I've gone to some factories where they make shoes. I met a guy, he's based in Italy. He makes shoes, bags, and belt. So I asked him, I said, listen, I can get a mold from Italy, bring it to Aba and produce these things here. I have Italian guys working for me here. I am based in Italy. Sometimes I don't have enough over there, so I bring the production here and I take it back to Italy and sell. So we are doing a lot, and it is, Tony, thank God you said your shoes is made in Moshi. My shoes is made in Nigeria, it's made in Aba, and listen, we should encourage made in Aba. We should encourage made in Nigeria. The clothes we wear, I went for one made in Nigeria, that's in Aba, made in this Nigerian product, sometimes in Lagos. And I was talking, and people were busy talking, they say, Pomo, the shoe, you should not use it for Pomo. Somebody says, I didn't answer, I just kept quiet. Then now, when I was talking, I said, okay, let's take a look at all of us here in this room. How many of us are wearing made in Nigerian products, ranging from the clothes you're wearing, the shoes, and even the cap? I look at a cross-section of the room, people wear tie, suit, and all that. You understand? I don't have a problem. I would love ties and suit. I would do that. But if you're talking about made in Nigeria and you knew you were coming from made in Nigerian product, you should offer for purpose of identification and to preach what you, to do what you preach. We should be seen in Nigerian attire or anything that is made in Nigeria. You can boldly say, this is it. And when all of us in this platform now, when we start talking about made in Nigeria, this is made in Nigerian clothes, this is made in Nigerian shoe, And they look at it, there's no difference between what they buy from China, what they buy from wherever. I rather will go, I walked at the airport from there and I saw one boutique. They say, oh, the shoes. And I looked at the shoes, so where are these shoes from? And the lady said to me, oh, I get them from China. And I said, I can't buy it. They asked me why. I said, because the shoes I see in Aba and in Nigeria, most of the shoes are better than what you're selling. Why will I buy this kind of thing that I'm not sure of the quality? I can control the quality. I am an advocate of made in Nigerian product and the shoes. I wear made in Nigerian clothes. I wear made in Nigerian shoes. And I always make bold, I brag about it. And I insist on getting the quality that when I speak about it, somebody will say, okay, let me try it. For us in Nigerian Export Promotion Council, value addition is a key and a critical, export component that we develop product for export. We help, provide technical competencies. We, like what we're doing in the leather, in Aba, Tony, we also have a common facility center that we're also promoting in Aba for leather and leather work too. We have in Aba, we partner with, sometimes we may not have as much money, but we get the technical expertise. Like the back one is with UNIDO and the state government, So we do all sort of things to make sure for us to diversify the economy, you must add value. Enough of getting our product to people to be raw material for the industrialized countries. Let us add, because when we add value, one, we attract premium at the international market. Number two, we also create jobs for the people, because in adding value, you must create jobs. People are, benefiting from whatever you're doing. And the economy is also impacted positively. Than just carrying in fact, for us, it was almost like not to give incentive. We also give incentive for people who are into export and maybe the repatriate their fund. We give incentive for that purpose. But we now prorate those that have added greater value, they have higher incentive in return. If you have maybe raw, we discourage that a lot. So we give, maybe sometimes, if possible, we may not even talk much about it, because there must be some level of value addition. And for us also, quality matters. So when we have good quality product from Aba, from Leatherworks, from Kanu, from Mushi, and you're bold to say this product stands the quality parameter anywhere, somebody will want to buy. Meanwhile, this one for your information, I used to make shirts, and it's made in Nigeria. I put them made in Nigeria. And I had one label, one made in Nigeria. One day I used to go all the way, sell to embassies and stuff. I targeted a lot of people that have, some peculiar shapes. For people like us, okay, I wear 17.5, so I know what the 17.5 sleeve is. But Tony looks a bit, I've not met you in person, but I think you're a bit big. You might be wearing 17.5 but taller, so you can't wear the 17.5 sleeve. So I get you a bespoke specification, which I take the measurement. Maybe your sleeve is 24 or 25, but you have a bigger neck, so that fit, And one day somebody said to me, because I deliberately did made in Nigeria, I said, because you've written made in Nigeria, there's no difference between this and what you have in Marks and Spencer, I will buy. He now was the one to introduce a lot of people, he said, go to this place, go to, make some, I will pay, make some to this person, just the way it is. From there, that's how it is. You've sure of the quality, because that's what sells the product. Quality is very key for us in all aspects of export promotion. You must not go with anything inferior. In international market, nobody knows you, nobody knows your company. They only know your product. When the thing passes through the quality parameter that is required, then they can talk with you. The money will be paid to you based on all the documentation, which is also another part of the problem. So in all these things, when you talk about export promotion, you need to talk about quality certification. Is it in agriculture? You have the organic certification, which sells everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, when you say this is organic, and it must be organic, that's the integrity. When it's organic and it goes through every parameter and is certified as organic, then you don't need much of stress. The market on its own will look for you. You know, when you put it on your website, oh, well, this is this. And that's why we tell people, please try, like in the shoe, get to the sun, the man cap or whatever, this in the ISO and the rest of those things. Those are the things that sells the market. In international, when you're talking about regional this thing, I saw Honorable Francis, you know, somewhere, I hope he's around, because he will help us in that aspect. For us to be able to penetrate the regional market, we must also keep to the quality standard. There's no way, there's no compromise, because they will not know me, they won't see me, but they will see my product. They will see when they look at the integrity of the product and it is exactly what I say it is in terms of the labeling and all I say about the product, then they will yield. This is what we need to do to be able to get into the market. Tony, you know, I remember in my conversation with you some times ago, I told you about, I did a small study on the Kanu red goats. Red goats.
Correct, yes, yes.
Red goat is one of the best.
Yes, yes,
I
confirm that, yes.
Ranch in Kanu. Why it is the best is because it's a free range. The fat and all those things are taken off. I have some samples of leather from goats. Yes. So these areas, maybe either the government or the private sector should invest more in that aspect, because that's where the leather, whether we like it or not, this leather, these shoes we wear from Italy and so they get this thing, we know. The tannery in Kano, the number of tanneries, most of you will see them in the NXP. When they put in the NXP, we see them, we know that their money, you know, there are a lot of transaction in that side. So it's important we deliberately develop this sector, because it's a huge, it's $1 billion sector. It's important we do what we ought to do for us to get that thing. Now, also been talking about the quality, in others, you know, we are trying to develop product. I mentioned partly in passing yesterday. Let's even think or say in Nigeria, we don't have oil anymore. What if this oil dries up today? What can we do? How can we survive? So we come up with this zero oil. Let's even believe or begin to act as if we don't have oil. How can we survive, you know, post-oil era economy? 70% of whatever comes from oil, about export product comes is oil, as at 2015, the report of a central bank. Then, I mean, the World Bank. Then 90% of the GDP is from this. Okay, fine. We don't have oil. What can we do? So we now look at all the things, the leather, the manufacturing, the apparels that we have is something that if we you know, put these things in perspective, we don't even need this oil that much. If we can develop the leather sector, we develop the apparel, we develop the product sector, other products, agri-commodity product, and have them, you know, get in required certifications. They are halal for those in food, you know, that, you know, they have so many halal, BRC, organic, fair trade. It's important. We get those things. Once you have those quality certifications, and you just maybe on your website, you include it, oh, this has made this, people will look for it. Not to give them raw materials for their manufacturing. You know, so we need to do that. We develop the zero oil plan, and we look at this. Okay, each state has something that the state is blessed with. We're so wonderful. The country is wonderful. Now we look at in a state like Enugu that I'm sitting right now. They have cashew. All the belt from Obolafo, even to Kogi, is a cashew belt, and the cashew in this sector, in this belt, is so huge that I went to cashew farm recently in one of the rural villages, and I saw that, you know, this carpet is crossing. You can't see the sunlight, you can't see the sky because of the carpet, I mean the The cashew trees crisscrossing each other. And that is underutilized, underdeveloped. So 2 days ago, I was in Udenu where we tried to put in a structure for a processing for the women group. Now, I was telling the local government chairman and the people that, listen, we do not want to sell this thing raw to anybody. Don't come and tell me, oh, cashew, we sell to Olam will sell to, you can process this thing. What does it take? We put in the system, we imported the machine, the processing machine, and installed for the women group. Listen, I just had some guy that is based in Maryland. He says he can buy, he's around it. So, you know, by Monday, I went to Aba with him for another, I want to take them and introduce to them, let them liaise with them, buy it there, process, you know, he does the processing, he has a warehouse. Let him buy from these people directly and pay them some level of premium, not just sell to this one, this is a third party. It doesn't work like that. That's the product that Enugu is endowed with. We've developed also in Nsukka, the yellow pepper. Spices everywhere is highly medicinal, especially this COVID period. I discovered that, so we developed that. And Nsukka pepper, the yellow pepper, has the aroma that if you use few of them in a pot of soup, you must perceive it. So these things are the kind of things we are talking about. These are a deliberate export promotion and export development activities we're putting in place to do that. The same with scent leaf. I have somebody in Lagos who said, okay, if you produce this XYZ scent leaf, I will buy off completely and process for export. These are the things you're doing. Don't sell anything. Vegetable in Anambra, has a hub for vegetable. We are trying to see how we can develop that with all the things because they have. Now with the Kola is good at logistics. We're looking at how can we move these things, you know, to Europe and the rest of those things with the minimum processes so that because of the perishable nature. These are some of the things in the products we are developing and we are deliberate. We don't want to sell, just sell. We must add value. We must, in the area of labeling and packaging, it is important we do this so that at the end of the day, the things that we normally suffer the rejection, oh, it doesn't meet the standard. And once a product is rejected in international market, the morale of the person, the image of the country, the financial implication of that and all that, that is a gamut. And we don't want, we've suffered enough of rejection. That's why we deliberately go all out to make sure we talk about the quality. We get people to train on the quality, the global gap, the organic certification and all that. We must get these things right because that is the way to move away from oil. Oil, you know, we can make more. Yesterday, I was talking about the 2021 budget that they said, oh, what's it called? Oh, there's a deficit of 14 billion or thereabout. So how are we going to finance that? We don't want to borrow. We have what it takes to, you know, develop our export, diversify. If we had done what we ought to do, that aspect of oil should have been for the oil was meant to service the non-oil while it was there, so that by now we should be talking about oil. But then it doesn't really matter. We can still. Paula met something, some very interesting thing yesterday. Don't even let us wait for the government. The private sector, network, you know, collaborations and linkages, bilateral relationships, what Kano and Lagos is trying to do. These are the kind of things that should be found at all levels so that it could be bilateral, it could be multilateral. Let's partner and make sure we move and drive this. This sector is, whether we like it or not, non-oil sector is a way, is a next line of defense for any economy. The Nigerian economy, the non-oil export is the next line of defense. In this AFCFTA, if we put these things right, we will always excel. We will always have, there's nothing we don't have in this country. Literally speaking, there's nothing we don't have. In one form or the other, we can export. Then, let me not, on the services side. The services is where, you know, we need to leverage. This is a low-hanging fruit for us. There is nowhere, there's no going back if we don't do it this day. I was talking with somebody and they said, look, the test that was bought The guys that bought the Paystack started in South Africa. That means, you know, if we know what that means. They also have a link in one of the companies, the fintech in South Africa. So if they combine their effort, and the one South Africa, by the way, is another strong decision for fintech. So if they now combine the one they bought from us with that one, that means they have already positioned themselves for a big deal in the AFCFTA services sector. Therefore, we can leverage. I was telling them the remitter, we can do a little bit more. Tony, you are doing something with the African Union and Afri-Exim Bank.
Yes.
Yeah, they try to help, you know, to give them a soft thing. They can also, if I don't know how you are going to, you know, help them to extend, because they said they have a 2-year stop services with them, this remitter. They need to do more than just 2 years. They need, because they couldn't get this. It's important. I told them, okay, we can look for partners who are already in this country so you can leverage, you know. This is what we should do deliberately. This is straight promotion. And do that. There's nothing that can stop us. We have the comparative advantage in so many forms, which is also some of the sectors that is acceptable or that is included in the AFCFTA services negotiation. It's important we deliberately. And I also will talk about the MRA, that's Mutual Recognition Agreement. You know, we should also start to work on that now that we are ratifying the edition, so that we don't, when people from this side, we know there should be any kind of discrimination. We should be able to do these things. Non-oil is the next line of defense for any economy, any world economy. Oil is going, whether we like it or not. Oil is going. The, what do you call it? The climate change, the greenhouse emission, and the rest of this has taken the minds of the entire world off fossil fuel. Therefore, we have what it takes to develop. That's why the Oyibo man will always come to Africa. They will always come to Nigeria, because they say, oh, we are this, we are that, but they know without this nation, this continent, a lot of their activities is stifled. They will not tell us that, but we know some of these things. Why would the Netherlands, CBI, will come and we want to train people in quality product for sesame seed, for cashew, for cocoa? Because they know half of the, I mean, 1/3 of the cocoa goes, they import from us. As at 2011, I mean 2017 or 18, we produce about 250 metric tons of cocoa in Nigeria. 240 alone went to Netherlands. So we're now struggling with this one. Maybe we don't consume these things, all that. So they look at it, oh, this is a way for us to want to do this. So it's important. I think I will. Let's not forget one thing. Quality is key, is the one that drives the made in Nigerian thing. Then value orientation. Let us begin to say, some of us, we like Oyibo food, Oyibo product, Oyibo this. It is not always the case. Let us do what others are doing. There are some people that the Chinese don't bother about too much of English and too much of this. They prefer their product. Their bar product is good. I have tested some of them. I'm not saying there are some that are bad. I was in Aba some weeks again. I saw the power line, the shoes, where they park those shoes on the road, full in bags and sacks, ready for export. But it's informal. Another thing we need to do, please. Kola, I think, is here. He's working on the Nasima. Let's try to formalize this export. Tony, we need a lot to do, because when people take these things informally, one, you can't account for it. Secondly, the quality may not always be there, and there's no traceability. So therefore, they just put, it compromises the integrity of our product, because people do just say, oh, some people carry in a briefcase, some smuggled in, and so on. As far as we are concerned, if you don't go through the processes, it is smuggling, and we can't account for it. And it's important we try to put some structures that will encourage people to want to do the thing legitimately and officially, so that at the end of the day, where there are problems, we can always say, oh, go to this place, do that, do these aspects to have a good quality product. Then on the investment side, final note, I don't know why up to now, it is a burden, a big problem for us in Export Promotion Council. Because if you have a truckload of product, some of these things might be perishable. It has a time ban. To move from Apapa or Isolo Express, Oshodi Solo, to Apapa Wharf, sometimes it might take about a month. And this is counterproductive. So I don't know how, Tony, these are areas where we should also think about. People say, come in there and invest in this, and these are problems that need solution. So that's basically my take on this.
Wow. My goodness. This is like juicy stuff. I saw some people online that were like, oh my goodness, we're enjoying, this is so interesting. This is what Nigerians need to hear. This is the work ahead of us. And you said, and I quote, non-oil is the next line of defense for Nigeria.
That's exactly.
So I welcome our executive speakers, honorable speakers, Honorable Francis, I see you. Please, I welcome you into this conversation. But this is one thing that is in my mind right now from a market entry strategy. You and I, we've spoken offline, but this is the challenge ahead. At the international regional market, where you're talking about finished goods. So let me just assume value addition has happened, right? Your proposition, like value addition from a NEPC standpoint. Let's just assume we've taken care of value addition. Let's also assume that the quality is there. Those are two requirements, but let's just say both of those are on point. Here is the other market entry challenge that we have. Is that at the global level, when you remove the middlemen, remember yesterday we talked about aggregators, off-takers, the OLAMs, they are middlemen, okay? When you remove the middlemen, the end buyer that is actually going to take these finished goods to the end consumers on big platforms like Amazon's, the Walmarts. Let's say we are talking to those buyers. Here's the biggest challenge: capacity. Capacity and standardization. So those major buyers, this is the work OLAM, the work that they do, the middle player does. If you eliminate them, there's a gap. Because what the global market is looking for, what I am looking for, is capacity, volume. To say, if I bring a contract to your region for 1 million pieces of shoes in 2021 for my brand, how do we organize your region to standardize the product to do that? Because so let me give, this is what China does. China has a face to the world. They go out there, they make promises, they talk about their capacity, they get the BPO, 1 million pieces. Because, yesterday I think I shared, I used to manage apparel merchandising strategy for the world's biggest retailer. So merchandising apparel in the global market has a 9-month cycle. What it means is all trade deals are locked in 9 months ahead. The reason is because you actually need that 9 months after you get the buying contract to go into your supply chain and order all the raw commodities. So if you're making a shirt, your buttons, your zips, everything, it takes that, you need that 9 months before the first shipment actually goes out. These are the things we're trying to educate, to say, okay, quality is one, but standardization and capacity and streamlining the supply chain. So I'm happy Barrister Kola is also here. We appreciate what I'm talking about. The buying gets done. So China would now take that purchasing power back to China. They've organized themselves into manufacturing sector. Do you know one person, one manufacturer in the world cannot produce the plastic bags that companies like Walmart uses? Nobody in the world has that capacity. So the purchasing power is divided among hundreds of suppliers. But the standardization, they're going to produce the same thing with the same standard. So again, that's the next. So let's say the quality is there, like you talked about. The value addition is happening. The challenge we have, if we want to remove the middle players, is the capacity. If I want 1 million pieces of product, t-shirt out of Aba, how do we do that? That's
Okay.
that's the question mark.
Okay, now let me try to understand. To answer that question, because we also appreciate that challenge. Now, for us in Export Promotion Council, we relate mostly with trade groups and associations. We always tell people to go get into cooperative. You cannot, yes, we will register individual, but it is always done better, because we found that in that trade groups and associations, you share the risk, you share everything. So we encourage these things, partnerships, network. For instance, in the real sense of it, in apparel manufacturing, it's only one. Somebody can be making the collar of a shirt, only the collar. This is one. This other one, just the cuffs. So if you have those, I was talking with a lady in Lagos, OSC, I think, when we were talking about these things, I remember during this COVID, somebody asked me to get a quote for face mask. So I asked her, they wanted to use it for the US military, the quote. But I told her, listen, you need this, you need that. How can you, what is your capacity? He said, this is my capacity, but I have this other downline. And there's a particular, though the thing is scale through, there's a particular standard and gauge that you must meet. Because it doesn't matter where this is coming from. If it's in an association, it is a lot easier to achieve that. Or you have partnerships who understands the kind of the contract that you have. So these are the things we promote. We insist on that. For instance, this lady, I think, is it this lady that does rough and tumble? Sometimes you get partnership, okay, train them in some of these other, technical expertise for this. Yes, she's already established, but you have people, I think from Sri Lanka and the rest, who also say, okay, yes, above all, you've done this, but these are some of the, what do you call it, best practices in the world. So we also get such technical assistance to also bring the people in these trade groups. By the way, we also have what we call the AGOA Resource Center for apparel. We have people that are trained in that place, where you can remain there, but you need to get a training and get the specification of what it is. So you understand the same thing, you speak the same language with the people. So whoever gets a business, or he can get into that place knowing that there are lots of people, thousands of people that have gone through that training, and they know they can use that as a common facility center to have everything standardized. These are not only in apparel, even in other product, other commodities and agri-commodities. When you go through associations, you'll be able to get the people with, okay, in clusters, you say, okay, that also will help in the aspect of traceability. Because if you get in batches and in clusters, and if anything happened there, you can always lay hand on, oh, this is from this place. But again, the strength is in the number of the people in that cluster or in association that they have. And they understand this trade, and they speak the same language. They understand what, the quality specifications that is. So it is a lot easier when it gets into such environment, not people individual doing it on their own.
Wow. So I also would love, I don't know, Honorable Francis, if you can jump in, because part of that, what you talked about in terms of the equipment you bought for Enugu and all of that, that in my mind, that should be investment strategy. Like, what investment strategies NIPC using to push into your space? Because that capacity is currently divided, how do we aggregate it? Because for me, that's our work. Like that's why for me, partnering with you and the work we're doing behind the scene, that's the ultimate. We know what the future needs to look like you and I, we know where we're getting to, but there are steps. Like that's why I talked about yesterday, being patient. I've learned patience so much. It's like things don't happen just overnight, but if we have a strategy, if you have an end goal, at least we can start bringing people together, we can start engaging. So Honorable Francis, would you like to jump in, or I don't want to put you on the spot. Sir Arnold said I don't like being on the
No,
spot, but
no, it's fine. Can
yes, I want to. I'm trying, because your video is not on. I'm not able to put you on spotlight. So if you change to your video, I can spotlight you, sir. Aha. Oh, I've added you, but I still don't see your face. But you can hear your voice, sir.
Okay, let me just chip in one. Yesterday, can you hear me? Before you come on board.
you
Okay.
see
Oh,
me?
we're
Better
losing
now?
you. Honorable Francis, we're losing you. Okay, now we see you. Welcome.
Oh.
I can see how fresh my guy is looking.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Hi, Arnold. Yeah, good evening, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are. I think, the conversation has been very good so far. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
It's been very good, and you've mentioned some key points. I think let me start from the last point. And you were spot on when you mentioned contracts and the timeline when you're dealing with international, the scale that you need to operate at when you want to do international trade. So, and yes, we produce all these products that we talk about, but not at the scale that we need to. So the second point to bear in mind is that hello, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, even locally, the likes of when we had an engagement as part of the AFCFTA sensitization, one of in Lagos, one of the participants got up and said, he has an agreement with ShopRite to supply their stores in Nigeria, all the stores in Nigeria, and he cannot cope. He doesn't have the capacity. So that talks to a critical element of what we need to do. And we have, and I think there's space for everybody, middlemen and so on, there's space for everybody to play. Because what you want is for people to focus in their small area and then pass it on to the other person to focus. Why is that critical? Because most of our producers, most of our businessmen and women are SMEs. If you think about it, even the documentation you need to do international trade takes time. It takes some level of knowledge to do. So from that cost and time to comply with the rules of origin and all of that, with that, the international standards requirements and all of that, it is important that those that have the capacity to take on this task, have this task and take them on. So what we are doing at the National Action Committee, the study is ongoing, is how do we aggregate what is happening at SME levels? Because it's a two-way street. You need to have the bigger companies or corporates with the capacity to go to market and then link them to the SMEs who they would provide the standards they will work on and make sure that they satisfy, they stick to those standards. and also be sure that they produce the products at the quality and quantity that the corporates need to be able to meet their contracts with the rest of the world. And I'm happy you mentioned that it is something that will take time, but it is critical. You know, we produce all these things that we're talking about, but the reason why a lot of them are informal is because we are producing at a very low scale. So it's something that we are working on. It's something that AFCFTA provides us the opportunity to do. And Arnold and his team, Arnold is talking about what he's doing on a regional level. Arnold has been very busy on the services side as well. When he tells you about the services that go with even the products, you see the scale of what we need to do, and the opportunities are immense. The standardization as well, again, part of the way we are looking at the standardization, the packaging, and so on, is that you can't travel outside Nigeria without your passport. Similarly, our products can't travel to any other country without those certification and standards. So those are their passports, and that's how we are treating them. And we're working very closely with the Standards Organization of Nigeria, NAFDAC, a Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service, and the private sector to re-establish the technical committee that would have that will work with the private sector to certify Nigerian products to international standards, so that these products can go. And what we also know is that the standards that we need to work on to supply Africa is the same standards that you need to supply America, the EU, and so on. So by focusing on AFCFTA, right, we are also indirectly, but more fundamentally, focusing on the rest of the world. But we have that platform, we have that preferential area that we are targeting, and we must do all of these in parallel. I like your point about trade and development at local level, and I'm so happy. I heard Honorable Onea, I think, talk about what he's doing between Kano and Lagos. It is important. It is very, very important, because as you build the skill and as you trade and grow and learn, then you're building the capacity that you can now take to the external market. So all these things are going, and really it tells you that we are not standing still. And as you said, oil is on its way out, even if not because of climate change. I mean, because of climate change, there's a lot happening in the renewable space as well. So really, we have no choice but to take on this route that we have taken, and a lot is happening. Like the cashew that Arnold talked about earlier, they are still growing in the wild. So this is money. You can then say that Nigerian bushes are paved with gold, because they're all growing in the wild. When we start with what is going on, when we start harnessing them and start improving on their yield and so on, it will pretty much just take off. So I think I would say that I'm happy with all that is happening, and I'm happy with all the points. And it is critical that we keep working at these things. We are doing our bit at the National Action Committee. We're working, the aggregation study I mentioned is a study that we are doing with NEPC. There's another study that we are doing with NEPC, which is around the value chain. So we take cocoa, for example. Now, if you look at cocoa beans, and yes, there's a lot. We've doubled our export of cocoa bean. But if you look at the value chain of cocoa, right? Then all of a sudden, the I don't know if I can share my screen. Is it possible?
Yes, I believe so. You have panelist access.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look for it. Okay, if I still have it. But if you look at the value chain of cocoa, all of a sudden the market changes from $1 billion to $5 billion. So these are some of the opportunities that are there, and a lot is being done. A lot still needs to be done to realize them. And like you said, we are in a marathon race, not a sprint. But all this information, all this sensitization, people need to know about it. And another key point to know from Arnold, what Arnold said, is that the equipment he's talking about, he didn't say that they cost $1 billion. No, there are equipment that are in tens of thousands or hundreds or thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, which people can come together as a group and buy. And we are where we are. We are SMEs, so we work with our structure as they are today and grow and win with them. So it's not only when we build a massive factory that we will win with export. It's about this aggregation, making sure that everybody come and take your small area, play and do the best that you can do there. You get paid as and when do, and you move on. Everybody, we don't need the 200 million Nigerians exporting, but we need the 200 million Nigerians focusing on either the products or services in a small area. I think I'll stop here.
Wow. I want to formally introduce you, Honorable Francis Anatogu is the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Nigeria on Public Sector Matters and the Secretary of the National Action Committee on the AFCFTA, and is representing Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry on this platform today. So let me just officially welcome you. And I mean, everything you just talked about is music to my ears because it's about productivity. You talked about 200 million. It's about productivity. And just case in point, I worked for the world's largest company, Walmart, and it employs 2.2 million people globally, but annual sales of $500 billion. So I have seen what can happen when there is real leadership and the power of people is put behind a common vision and a solid strategy. 2 million people equal to 500 billion. What can 200 million people in Nigeria do? That is why I am excited. In my previous world, I used to coordinate about 24 executives. Individually, they are managing $3 billion business, But one thing that I noticed that I had to coordinate is power play, right? You have power dynamics when you have independently powerful individuals or organizations or parastatals or agencies or ministry. Power play. But what then happens is we had a centralized program management office that would be pulling the strings and orchestrating those individuals. Because if they are left by themselves, it's like what Chinua Achebe said, things fall apart when the center cannot hold. We need powerful structures, we need powerful ministries, but there has to be an orchestrating body that manages the vision and the mission and the strategy that harnesses the forces of this industry. That is one of the things that I'm saying. We need platforms for dialogue. We need engaged leadership and to marshal all of the things I'm hearing here. Things are happening. Work is happening. That's why strategically, the individuals and the honorable speakers that we brought to this platform, it's enough of talk. For me, it's action. Action. What is going on? Who is doing what? How can we partner? How can we engage? And that's why we've received so many amazing feedback because this conversation doesn't stop here. And, Honorable Nicholas Ella out of the New York office is being a great partner for this platform. And I've also started engaging with him to say, we cannot wait one more year to keep, because between the people here, things can happen. Things can happen. So that's my own thought process as what's next. So Honorable Anno, please, you wanted to, I can see your face. Sometimes I read faces. Please jump in.
When Francis has spoken, he's an embodiment of this, and I really appreciate this, especially something that is very, the fact that I earlier on talk about doing these things does not preclude that you don't need the middlemen. They are on their own because of some logistics, like dealing with the SMEs. The SMEs may not be able to go to the bank, aggregate this or do this and get all the things in the bed. The SMEs concentration will be on the production of whatever product they are focusing on. So that aggregation, we also work through aggregators, because it's the work of that. Like this person I mentioned we're looking for, there's an aggregator we are trying, we are talking with to have an MOU. The aggregator, if it gets in there, the women will bring in their cashew, do all the things they want to do. Their business is to get this cashew and get into that place. The aggregator will now begin to talk about the quality. It's important. It's a chain. It's a value chain. I'm not saying we cannot, do without this. They are very important, but it's only when it becomes exploitative. That's where we're a little bit worried. But when you have an aggregator, an agent also that says, okay, I'm going to do this. You have an MOU with them, with the SMEs, and then that's perfect, because in outsourcing, that's, to me, it's like an outsourcing. You can't do all, I can't do all. This is my core competence. Let me concentrate on that core competence. This is what I need other people to leverage. And that at the end of the day, everybody goes on without too much headache. So it's important. We work through aggregators and centers like that. It's very key. And for us for us to actively be engaged in the AFCFTA, we need that. We really need that, and it's important for us. The capacity.
Yes.
Incidentally, we're talking, why we don't have, my chief executive one day said something. He said, all we produce, we export, we do. Do we have the culture of consuming some of these things? Wow. The cocoa. We don't even have, we just, cocoa bean is it's of recent that people started, producing cocoa powder, and you find that it's very healthy. So if we step up the production, because we also consume, then it will be a little bit more, so we need to do that. Wow. Then Honorable Francis mentioned something that is very key. I raised that issue with some people, and they said we can't overrule the work of the usefulness of the research institute. The trees, some of them are old, some of them needs replacement, some of them needs to be a hybrid of what, instead of the normal 4, 5, 6, 7 years, something that will take a shorter gestation period. Because if we must do, it's a deliberate thing. You plan to shorten the lifespan of these trees so that you continuously have something to, but if you have to wait for 5 years, 6, 7 years. Now in cocoa, they've succeeded in bridging that in the year this is. So in cocoa now, you have the improved species that can take about 18 months to start fruiting, but maybe 36 for it to mature, against the 6, 7 years period. So the research institutes are very key, and we should also try as much as possible to carry them along in some of this, because they will help. In all this, yes, we have them in abundance, but then we still need to research into how we can get some of these ones, shorter and shorter for us to benefit.
Yeah, I see Barrister Kola where he just noted that he would like to jump in and make a comment. Please, Barrister Kola, are you there? Unmute. Let me join the conversation. He's the chairman of Nasima Export Group, and he was one of our esteemed speakers yesterday. Please, sir, you just noted that you wanted to jump in, and I acknowledge I just want to acknowledge the chats and the questions and the comments that is being dropped. I want to acknowledge, right now, some of the, I'll read it out, but Barrister Kola, please.
Thank you very much. I just I've listened to the both speakers, who are a very wonderful set of people. Arnold, my very good friend, and Chief Anthony, and Mr. Francis. Basically, we're still. I believe that we all of us here, we understand the challenges and we understand the problems, which there is no doubt about that. Now, the problem is, where do we go from here? What are those things that we need to put in place? What are those structures that we need to run? Nigeria, we have enough policies, but we need enough executions of those policies. And if you ask me, one of the first things I want to say, and I've said it in one or two forums, is that if I have the power, I'll turn Nigerian Export Promotion Council from being a promotion council to a trade facilitation council. Away. Enough of promotions. This is now time for them to do a little bit more when it comes to trade facilitation. We give them power to go into joint venture, to go into stakeholders and partnerships, so that we can push non-oil export forward. Then in the course of the two speakers, they identified the same major problem: quality, made in Nigerian goods, difficulty in accessing international market. Then this brings to fore the role of diaspora. It is also very good. It is always very good when products are market driven. When the demand is coming from the market. If the diaspora wakes up today and say they are interested in pushing made in Nigerian products, two things happen. They are aware of the parameters of the quality. They are aware of the import restrictions, import demand, import rules, import procedure, which an average exporter does not have. Then they come in from that angle and come to the country and say, this is what we want. Yes. Now it becomes easier for the cooperative thing to work. It becomes easier for exporter to key into it because they have the parameter in place, including all the certifications and quality that they need. So that is one major role, which is one of the reasons why we have in the conference, that diasporans should start looking at those loopholes, those opportunities, those demands, and take advantage of them. For example, let's look at Ola Ola. Ola Ola knows that flour, poundo yam is basically African food. It comes to Nigeria, takes the raw, goes to America, package it well, and sell it all over the world. The man is selling all over the place. The same thing with Olu Olu. Why? They came with the idea of market driven. They're coming from America, they're coming from Europe, and they look at the demands and they're able to meet up with it. Then in the absence of that, if the diasporans are not working, how do we work on the private sector? That the next structure we need to consider seriously, which we're already doing, is the trade house. The trade house will push the product to them in the market. They'll see it. And because the product is in an institution, they will have a little bit of credibility and trust, and the capacity can be discussed, and continuity can be discussed, quality can be discussed, and then we come back home. We make it another market driven again to say, okay, we have this demand XY, and we need to organize our market so that our production, so that we can meet with the demand. To solve international access to international market, we need the diasporans like anything, and then we need the establishment of regional or global trade house driven by Nigeria in collaboration with any other country that they are working with. Then another thing that came to fore basically here is the issue of informal export. Like I want to say to Chief Tony, you are sitting on a gold mine in Kano, believe you me. And I believe God has placed you in that role to see that gold mine and open it up, and then you yourself, you'll be shocked as to what you have in place in Kano. Kano, the Dawanau market in Kano is the biggest, largest West African agro-commodity market in West Africa, in Africa as a whole. There is no market as big as the market. Every manufacturers, both small, medium in the food and food-related industry, depends on that market. Every exporter of agro commodity depends on that market. I visit the market like or something. I just came out from Kano like three weeks ago. I go there, purchase my export products. Everybody comes in there. So that's one area that that Kano need to look into. The major problem there, why Kano is not getting the revenue that they need to get, is the level of informal exports that take place in Kano, the Kano market. Thousands, I'm not saying hundreds, thousands of trucks are loaded every day, and they find their way into Niger, they find their way into through Maradi, they find their way into Burkina, they find their way into Cote d'Ivoire with onion, with garlic. They move like in droves. If Chief can really look at that market and see how he can form a linkage between the aggregators in that market and the end user, which are the large industries in Nigeria, then there'll be a lot of backward integration in terms of capacity building, in terms of income generation, in terms of poverty alleviation for people in Kano. So those are the key areas that I just want to make some level of input. Then in the textile industry, we're currently working similar to what everybody have said here. In our last meeting on the textile industry, we're coming up with a training, same side with the cooperative. The cooperative is going to train, we're going to put an advert in the paper looking for people that want to be trained. And they will train them in specific areas of garments. And every one of them that is trained will be part and parcel of the cooperative. So that in any case, any of the large exporters have a big order. They know who and who and who and who that they need to call, that they need to bring in to come and sew a specific area of that garment or the textile, because they have been trained by that same cooperative. So those are the kind of things we're looking at also at the NASIMA Export Group in order to form collaboration and stakeholders meeting.
Yes.
So that's just my small input. Thank you.
And thank you, Barrister Kola, for pulling me into. I follow the conversations in the textile. Again, I'm practicing patience. I'm practicing patience because, few years ago, I spoke to the CEO of Walmart and I was like, Nigeria, buy more from Nigeria. And he said, what does Nigeria want to sell? I was like, I'll be right back. And then I said, this. He was like, okay, show us. But our capacity, our requirement. Don't just bring anything here. So right now, I'm like, let's go back home, do our mobilization capacity development, because the powers that be, they're ready to see. Because for me, for years, I've been saying trade with Africa, and they're watching me. Even the senior vice president of Global Sourcing said, Tony, I know you've been talking to us. Like, where is that capacity? Where is that volume? I'll be right back. For me, I'm like, I'll be right back. Yes. We still have some work to do back home. I'll be right back. All that thoughts right there. So for me, that's the challenge I'm saying, is that we have open channels of conversation with the biggest players. I have my name and my brand to protect. And the reason this platform was created is to fast track and accelerate all this work.
So you'll be shocked. We have members, about 3 members that have gotten orders in the past for 10,000 units, 5,000 units. They went for trade show in UK, and the first question they asked them, where's your line sheet? And can you produce XY? And that was like, they were just like looking like this. Those are the bases where we're coming up with it. Yes, that's why we're coming up with these strategies now. The strategies is going to be like, we're going to train a lot of them, put them in a pool of human resource, and have them within the same cooperative. They are going to be members and part and parcel of the same cooperative. So even the issue of a staff leaving one staff to go to the other staff, those all will be off, because somebody is migrating from one person to the other person because of salary increase. There's a pool of resources already in place, so they can equally call somebody else within the pool to take over the place of the designer or the cutter or the sewer. So we're working on it. So I want to appeal to you. They should give us a little bit of time.
Oh yes, yes.
We're coming up. We're coming up very fast. You will see the advert. You're part of it. Your name is going to be on the advert too, so that people know that we're serious about what we're doing in terms of access to market and everything.
For me, so I've had to come up with 2 strategies. One strategy is, yes, I know what is going on, and I'm saying let's move towards the bigger player, because I know what the bigger player. I led that, so I cannot present anything to them that is not at the quality and the exceptionality that is expected. But in the interim, what I've also done, and I've shared this with you personally, is for the SMEs. I just launched my own brand on Amazon, meaning even if you don't have the capacity, we've opened the channel under which we can start your textile as they are producing, because you have to walk your way. I mean, we have to crawl before we run, before we jog, before we sprint. Yes. So whatever. So that's why for me, patience is being my motto now. It's like, okay, calm down. Yes, we want to go for the bigger. That's the future. I've seen the future. The systems that I help build, they are live auctions that China is participating in. They bid live. We'll just open the bid and say, hey, we want to buy for 2021, 2022. This is the buying we want to do. And then Chinese firms will come on and say, we can produce this, this is our capacity. And they're negotiating. There are times we do forward auction, reverse auction. They will be bidding against themselves. I can produce this at this price. Because when I even say there is buying opportunity, it is the word I want to use is it is extremely competitive. Because this is not oil. That's why we say non-oil. In oil, Nigeria has a upper hand, because people cannot just say, oh, yeah, if you don't play with us, we'll go elsewhere. No, they will say, we want your oil. What are your terms? So they will play to the terms of Nigeria. It's now reversed in the non-oil space, because global buyers have options. If you don't, Vietnam, China, Bangladesh, they have options. So we now also have to understand power, the buying conditions. And one thing we have going right now, especially in US markets, because I shared US controls 40% of global wealth, AGOA is underutilized. I have used it and I've seen some of the bottlenecks of what's going on. But AGOA is US attempt to say, we'll reduce tariff. Instead of charging 15, 20% on your textile, we'll bring it down to 0. But our non-tariff barriers remain high. Standards, if you're bringing in agriculture, FDA, just like NAFTA. So all of those things is what Nazaru is helping. So thank you again. Yes, we know where we're going, right? We know what the future looks like. We know the game plan. But in the interim, we also want to start opening channels for the SMEs through channels like, Amazon's, right? They may not require the volume, but if you can standardize, we can start bringing things and putting it and marketing it on Amazon.
Those are the things we're looking at. We're looking at smaller buyers.
Smaller,
like Zara.
yes.
Smaller Zara that want 5,000, 1,000. Those are the we're looking at. Yeah, we're looking at those ones. Then quietly we start scaling up production for them to get to the
yes.
So that we're working on it. Like I said.
Yes, I know. Trust me. That's why I'm saying the doers. We talked about not just policies, like you said. Let's do and honor Sir Arnold too. Part of my conversations with him too is the mobilization of the work. So you have us. Leverage our platform to activate this.
Even with the letter coming up, with the FCTA coming up now, Morocco is going to send their letter, finished products to Nigeria. Then a lot of finished product letters in Nigeria, leather products in Nigeria, they're going to face a lot of competition. And Nigeria being what we are.
Yes.
We want to go for Moroccan leather products.
I agree with you, Mr. Awa.
I want to go for Moroccan. So it's right time that we start opening up the market for these leather people with made in Nigerian products, made in Nigerian label, put it right in front of their face. Let them know our potentials. Let them know that some of these things you're calling Moroccan leather was brought from here. By the time we have a trade house that slap this thing on them, and the trade house is manned by their own people. If I'm in the Morocco trade house, I put Moroccan staff there. He speaks the language of Nigeria to them, and that's the way to go. They build the confidence in their people. They try the first one, try the second one, try the third one, and they say, this is the way to go.
Wow.
I said it 2 ways. It's either the diaspora comes in and gives us the market requirement, or we just go in and slap products on their face. Quality products.
Toyin, there was an aspect that was touched on by Mr. Jackson.
This conversation will not just stop like most of us have agreed.
I didn't get that. Honorable Anthony, please go on.
Okay, so there was an aspect that was touched on by Mr. Jackson. on the value chain. One of the things the Kano State government has done is to invite, if you remember during the Ruga crisis when the cattle heading and everything, the Kano State government asked the cattle rearers to bring their cattle to Kano. Now, strategy, like I mentioned, every state needs to have a strategy. The strategy is simple. Bring them to me, I have land, I will take care of them. Now, Kano State is building an end-to-end process. The cattle's coming, as in he has already gone to the to China, to Dubai, to get loans, to buy the equipment. The cattle's coming, we have a processing plant, value chain. So you have the animals, then an abattoir where you get meat, an abattoir where you get meat, you know, an abattoir where you get meat, then you get milk, then hides for leather, then horn for medicine. So it's a chain. It's a chain. So where other people are seeing the negative part of the Ruga idea, Kano State has already started building a process, an end-to-end process. Bring your cows to me. If you remember what the chairman of the Tannery Association mentioned, he said one of the issues they face in the leather industry is because people are consuming more leather as pomo. So they can't get huge leather, you know, stuff that, because even people are exporting it for more. So we keep consuming the pomo, so the leather is not enough for them to export out there, you know. So with that value chain process, end-to-end process Kano State is building, we, like I said, it's milk, it's meat, it's hides, it's horn for medicine, the hooves for medicine, the bones for medicine. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. You know, I just thought I should put that in because Mr. Jackson mentioned it. So yes, strategy is key to approach where we're going to.
Yes.
The right strategy.
Wow.
Is key.
Yes. So I want to quickly shift. I know we went over, but I let it run deliberately because I was going to have some Q&A after, but I allowed it to come in now. So permit us and give us a few more minutes. I want to now quickly switch gears. So thank you, Sir Arnold, for your amazing contribution. This conversation moves on. You have my support and we'll continue our engagement offline. We also have to figure out the best way to keep, because the dynamic of this powerful delegation we have is incredible. So we'll continue exploring what to do as next steps. So now I'm going to switch a little bit, change a little bit. I'm going to bring on Madam Awa Mustafa. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to now switch. Let me take the spotlight to her so that I can introduce her. Okay, Awa, I'm going to bring you to the spotlight. Oh, Madam Awa Mustafa is an educationist. She's an education consultant. She leads the Teach Africa Today, and she's going to be sharing with us about the Northern Nigeria, education in the Northern Nigeria, the women, and then youth empowerment. And I'll let you introduce and share more, but it's such an honor. She's based here in the US, but she's an incredible force in mobilizing the Northern youth and women. She's considered a mentor, a coach to a lot of people. So welcome to the platform. Please, you have this moment to just crystallize and share with us your perspective, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Hawa Mustafa Babra. Babra is a small town out of the old Kano, current Jigawa state. I've been living in the United States since I was 17 years old. And now the best thing I share with people is my age. I'm over 50. I like that. I have 4 children that are grown and mostly gone. And my passion for education stemmed from my background, having come from a family of educators. And so I have been, dealing with children all my life. As you know, we always take care of our siblings and our aunties' kids. And that's how I started getting involved in taking care of children. And so ever since my life in the United States, my husband and I came here. He was a student. I've been babysitting students' children. Up until now, I have my own business. It's a childcare business. So I started my career without any educational background, but skills and experience. And then after that, I was able and the opportunity to go to school, and then added the book smart to my skills. And also that's what connected me to the youth in Nigeria. I understand that a lot of the youth, specifically from northern part of Nigeria, may have some, education, but not necessarily skill, like experience in work. And this is what is devastating the youth. So I have been advocating for women's rights and children's rights, online since for the past 2 years. Currently, what drawn me to helping youth in Nigeria is really the current issue about the NSARS. When that, was all over the news, it was devastating. And I was looking in and I said, oh my God, what can we do? What can we do? So I started a movement mainly on Instagram. I just titled it, "What is the positive way forward?" And that really drawn a lot of youth, specifically from northern part of Nigeria, to connect with me. And because they realize I am someone who listened to them and allowed their voices to be heard. So through that platform, I was able to learn a lot of the youth issues. And talking about issues, I then realized it's just like a trade. And that's what brought me here today. Our youth, their issues, why they are stagnating in life, is just like all the things that gentlemen here, respective gentlemen were speaking, is value added to what we currently have. Their lives are stagnant because there is no way that their voice are being heard, and they don't have support. What they have is adult telling them what to do. We, the adults, are not realizing that time has changed. We will not be able to raise our youth like the way we were raised, because it's a different time. It's a different era. So having said that, I want to retract back and talk a little bit about my educational background. Now, I have my associate degree, my bachelor's degree, my master's, all in early childhood education. And currently I am doing my doctoral program again on early childhood education. So early childhood education, you can't go through it without tapping into a lot of psychology and, the growth and development of children. And so early childhood education is also not a study of babies only. It goes all the way to certain a level of adulthood. So we study a lot about adolescents and young adults. So through my endeavor on my education, I worked a lot with children here in the United States. We do a lot of volunteer work in the Kansas City Housing Authority. We visited a lot of prison, talking to young adults and finding out why they are there and their type of walk of life. So connecting with the Northern Nigerian youth, I come up with an idea thinking that a lot of youth in the 21st century have one thing in common, or several things in common. So comparing the youth here in Kansas City, Missouri, because I cannot say in the United States, because I only work with youth here in Kansas City, Missouri, largely in the downtown area. So what is devastating those youth is being raised by single parenting. They don't have men or male figure in their lives, and they do have work available and readily, but they have a lot of environmental issues that is deterring them from progress. Comparing them to the northern side of Nigerian youth, I found out that the youth in the northern side of Nigeria, they do have two parents, luckily. But then why are they sharing similar problems is that we all not empowering them and not enlisting them and not sharing their vision. So they were scooped up in a corner and frustrated. And if you ask me, that's not healthy for our environment and for our government. So I advocate for them. Like I said, in my platform, I conducted almost every day, a live session with the youth where I talk to them and I ask them questions. I give them, forum to speak their minds. So I am here because I want to learn a lot about trade with Africa. I want to be able to connect the Northern Nigerian youth that I'm working with to collaborate and find a peer, like a tutoring for them to match them with the diaspora youth. So I look at myself, I said, I have 4 children and thank God they are all successful. What can I do to match my children with the youth in Nigeria so they can connect and help one another? So that's one area I am working on with the diaspora children in Europe and here in the United States to get a collaboration, a type of peer connection between the youth to start talking, because they have one thing in common. They are all what we call the social media generation. So already they are connected, So that already has opened the doors for them to start something incredible to help our country, Nigeria at large. What we, the adults, we need to do is to be able to support them in uplifting their current skills. So in early childhood education, really the backbone of the study is take children from where they are to where they need to be. So really you cannot go anywhere if you didn't start from where you are. You see, our youth in Nigeria, that is the type of support they needed. We as adults, we don't need to tell them what kind of career they need to have. We must change the mindset. We must change the system. Where when I was growing up, my parents would want me to be a doctor or engineer or a housewife. For my case, coming from village, my parents were not educated. I was just raised to be a very good housewife. I am that and plus more. So now we need to allow our children to bust out their skills, their interest. If we help them from that point, they would be able to be successful. So in this forum, we are talking about trade, added value, and what I hear from the gentleman speaking, I have to look at my note to remember a name, from Honorable Chief Anthony. I think what I gather is you are saying enlist others. Definitely, this is what the youth needed. I mean, I'm sitting here itching to say something about Kano, okay? Back a couple of years during the other government, what I have noticed when I went to visit Kano is that there were resources, but we do not have the mindset to use our resources to connect with current situations that we have. So we have a government that pour in money to train women. So what we had was a lot of women were, for example, being taught how to make soap, detergent for washing dishes. And you see every neighborhood you go is just women being taught how to make soap. No one is teaching them how to package the soap, how to market the soap. So every house you go in a neighborhood, everyone is selling the same soap. So no one is buying from one another. They don't know where to market it. And the youth who, if they were to connect them, who knew already the internet, who knew already how to Google information, would have been able to match with these people that were being trained and help them. So again, we are lacking collaboration in the system where we are empowering our youth and our women. So in leather, I have a young boy from Kano who sent me messages and pictures of beautiful shoes. He said to me, Auntie, I can make any shoe. in this world, just send me the picture and I can replicate it. And like, you know, the gentleman said, they can put made in Italy, made in wherever you want. And I kid you not, any shoe, any handbag out there that you can pick up from Macy's, from dealers, they can replicate that exact same thing with exact value and quality. So why are our youth not being enlisted? Why are we not sharing their vision? Why are they not in the front of our economy? They are our tomorrow's future. I'm here urging you guys that are out there in the front to find a way to help our youth. Things fall apart, like the host said, when youth are not involved. So this is why I'm here. I want to say one more thing. Okay, I have seen on NTA News that the federal government of Nigeria is processing some kind of a bill to help youth. I'm urging you, when that bill goes out to the stakeholders, do not force our children in Nigeria with your thinking and your old mentality values. Forgive me for saying that. It's not going to help them prosper. What I urge you to do is call them, make them important, make them matter, ask them, respect their thinking, their creativity, nurture it. Ask them what would they want to do instead of forcing them with what you think they would want to do. For example, there is a young girl out of Kano. Her name is Halima. She's on Instagram with the handle Chef Halima's. Last year, Halima, a 20-year-old, produced the most rice, I think, from the northern part of Nigeria. She was opportuned with given a land, I think by Jigawa State or some other state. She lives in Kano. A barren land was never cultivated before. That child cultivated, planted rice and harvested rice. And it was a good quality rice. And she produces the most rice that year from northern Nigeria. Can you imagine a girl child in a farm harvesting rice? If her parents didn't support her, if the government didn't aid her, she would not be able to do that. So I am talking to you today to please find opportunity in this trade market to enlist our youth and share the vision with them. And I kid you not, you will see a peaceful Nigeria. Our youth are dying. They are suffocated. We need to help them. We need to help them by sharing our vision with them and holding their hands to go forward. The final thing I want to say is they are our future. We want to be able to retire and rest. Allow them, please. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. You just touched my heart. Oh my God. We won't be able to take questions because of time. I want the last speaker, but it's true. Part of it is making sure our youth can compete on the regional and global stage. Youth in China, they're online, they're doing business, they're making money. So thank you so much, my dear, for coming, for sharing. And I have to apologize. You know, we don't have time to continue to engage, but there's one. Yes, I know. I also want to acknowledge, Honorable Anthony wants to respond. I'll bring him on briefly. Please, I apologize ahead. I know we are over, so I'm trying to speed up, but Honorable Anthony from Kano State Governor wants to quickly respond. I will yield and do that. Please, sir.
I'll be quick. Hadia, thank you. It's an honor to get you here to speak to us. I'm currently working on a program called Innovate Kano. The Innovate Kano program is I'm taking 130 young indigenes from Kano that have never left Kano before, and I've never been to Lagos rather before. I'm bringing them to Lagos. They'll be here for 2 months, where they would visit places that they will visit the famous market, business institutions. They would have class sessions. They would sit with Linda Ikeji, people in different industries that would talk to them, that would tell them what's happening, what's making Lagos tick. why are businesses thriving in Lagos? Then they would go back to Kano and sort of be sub-franchisers. So let's say you come to Lagos, where one of the biggest logistics companies, God is Good Logistics, and he tells you about how God is Good Logistics is working. And you go to Kano and you say, see, I want to do logistics. So you can carry God is Good Logistics brand to Kano. I've spoken to Vitafoam. Vitafoam says, bring them to us so that when they go back to Kano, they will be our franchisers. They will sell our products. We'll open stores for them. That's the idea. We'll get the CAC to register them as a business, that they'll be in clusters as a business. So I'm picking them from the 44 local government areas in Kano. Bring them here so they will go back. So it's a 3-year program. It's a 3-year program. It will happen in a year. I will have 3 intakes. So every quarter we'll have the first one, the second one, and the third one. So Hadia, share your details with me so that we can talk about the Innovate Kano project I'm working on.
Yes, yes. I'm sure this is great connection because like I shared, our husband is actually a recent appointee of the governor of Kano as well. So this was just God making right here. So definitely I'll exchange your phone number, your emails and contacts. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, please, everybody, it's not me anymore delaying. Honorable Ella just raised his hand, so nobody should blame me. Okay.
Thank you. I want to say the big thank you to all our panelists. You've been incredibly good, but we need a little feedback from other participants.
Okay.
And especially there are some questions that they have raised. We've not been able to attend to them.
Yes.
Please, I will crave your indulgence.
Yes.
Let's listen, have a little bit of time.
Yes.
At least for a feedback mechanism.
Yes. So please, with everybody's permission, please, like I said, most of our events are 2.5 days, but everybody, because of Zoom fatigue, that's why we try to reduce this, but we see this conversation needs to go. I know Chief Honorable Charles Omuso Jumbo, I've seen your hand raised. Very soon, are you ready, sir? If you raise your hand again, he's one of our attendees and he was recommended by the Foreign Ministry of Affairs. So Honorable Nicholas, is there somebody else in particular that you want me to bring on? Okay, he's raised his hand again. Let me quickly bring him. Okay.
I have nobody in mind, please.
Okay.
Just let it be general. I think that will just
okay.
We'll just take a few minutes and that will be okay.
Okay, and there's are you able to unmute and join? I see you raised your hand. Yes. And your video, please introduce yourself, sir.
I just wanted to, I'm Chief Honorable Charles Omuso Jumbo. I'm a member of Nigerian Agro-Export Setup Committee, set up by the government, by the Ministry of Trade and Industry this year, July 18th. Anyway, our group, of export activities in Nigeria, our group has streamlined a lot of export activities in Nigeria, and I've come up with a four cardinal points of approaching this. Number 1, traceability. Number 2, certification. Number 3, small farmer holder. And number 4, aggregators and off-takers. So we can, like what you said about Walmart, for this purpose or for the period we're in now, it might not be too viable in Nigeria. Why? Because it's going to cut off a lot of aggregators and consequently cut off means of livelihood for people, which the government is struggling to do to empower a lot of people in the country. We also want to achieve our aim by using majority youths, like what Mrs. Aja Hawa Mustafa has said, is very, very pivotal to our own strategy, because majority of what we want to do, majority of the people we want to use are youths. Because number one, in Nigerian population, the youths are more, and most of them are unemployed. And because they're unemployed, that's why we have a lot of restiveness and issues. So we are going to use the youths for our program. And the main issue Nigeria has in terms of agro export is rejection of our goods. Why? Because of traceability. Why? Because we do not have good agricultural gap. You know, so we are also going to train farmers, small farmer holders and aggregators on global gap certification. And once this is done, you see that Nigerian products will be very, very, very desirable in foreign countries. Ghana, Kenya, and Ivory Coast, they all have, and Gambia, they all have global gap certification, and they are doing a lot of export, but Nigeria is not doing any export. You know, most of the export that go on in Nigeria are going on through other countries. We cannot export things from Nigeria because they'll be rejected. We don't have any certification, we don't have any system, we don't have any process. But our group is now going to rectify that. Number two, another problem we have is the high cost of logistics. You know, Nigerian logistics is the highest, almost the highest in the world. If you want to export something like pineapple, which is one of the, Nigerian pineapple is one of the most desirable in the world. To export a kilogram of pineapple out of Nigeria, the cost, logistic cost is almost about, if you want to export it to the UK, which is just about 6 hours, it's almost about £1.99 and £1.99 pound, which is almost the cost of the money they pay you for importing that distance. So it has totally knocked off comparatively our prices in the international market. As a result of that, you see that out of 10 cargo aircrafts that come into Nigeria, only about 1 leaves with goods back because there are no goods to export, because people are not ready to export because of the logistic costs. If you want to fly by any of the aircrafts in Nigeria, if you buy the printout, you see that if they charge you 40,000 naira, let's just say for an instance from Lagos to Abuja, if they charge you 40,000 naira, the tax alone is 20,000 naira. A Boeing 777 aircraft in Nigeria, landing cost in Nigeria is about $35,000. On 777 cargo aircraft, landing cost is $35,000. This same aircraft in Ghana is almost about $3,500. In Kenya, it's about $1,800. So you see that comparatively, we have lost out. So this is what we are taking up with the federal government, and we have almost gotten to an advanced stage that the federal government have heard our cries. And anytime from now, we're expecting the white paper to come out from the presidency, reducing or subsidizing agro export products from Nigeria. So with all these things, you see that Nigeria is going to be a hub for what they call it, for export in Africa. We are starting, first of all, to set up agro-processing units in all the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. And once this is done, you see that products come from the farm gate to these processing units, and we have what we call secure agricultural corridor for secure agricultural transport corridor for transporting these products. This is something we came up with NICEL in 2017. In 2018, we had a very exhaustive meeting, conference with NICEL, and came up with this. So all these strategies are put in place to streamline agricultural activities. Second, another issue again we have about export in Nigeria, the certification processes are so many. If you want to export something like bitter leaf, scent leaf or something, and Nsukka yellow pepper, I heard Arnold saying that, Honorable Arnold saying that, talking about the Nsukka yellow pepper. If you want to export it from, let's say, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, which is the only certified airport to export agro products, you see that you need quarantine certificate, you need a standard organization certificate, you need NAFDAC, you need up to 20 certifications, which is totally unnecessary. The point is that the people who are ordering this thing, what requirements do they have? The only requirements, the major requirements they have for agricultural produce is quarantine certification. All those other things, customs and all those things, everybody just comes and disturbs the exporter to the extent that you see that before the exporter is able to get all this certification for an agricultural product, it takes almost 2 weeks, and the product gets spoiled. Moreover, to transport these things, by the time you transport these things out, you see that these things are no more viable. They will be rejected. Either they must have gone bad, or they don't have that traceability. So they definitely will be rejected. In those points of we are combining with, we have an agreement with University of Nsukka, Nigeria, to train all farmers in Nigeria. This is a process we're about to start, and certify them with Global Gap certificate. Because without this, anything about export of agro produce in Nigeria is a pipe dream. It will never come true, because they will always be rejected. So this is just the small this thing. Now I know we have really gone far in time, and I don't want to be too long about what I have to say. These are the small things I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And you talked about a white paper that will be coming out. If you could keep us,
definitely I will.
Yeah, we can disseminate it, because we have a whole, we have a lot of people that follow this work and on this platform as well. So thank you so much for your contribution. I would love to engage further as well, to learn more and to see, our potential partnership that might emerge. I want to quickly bring. Yes.
Sorry, I wanted to say something. Another issue I wanted to talk about. You made a very good observation, which I love so much. The main problem, one of the major issues we have in Nigeria is power play among agencies and committees of the same sector. You see that government sets up agencies for different purposes, but every agency or committee wants to fight with the other person. They don't want to come together. They don't want to unify. They want to create problems. And at the end of the day, who is suffering? The country is suffering. Personal ego from the heads of such organizations cause a lot of issues. As a result of that, you see that instead of people to be coming together to talk about progress, they start fighting each other. They can spend like 2 or 3 years fighting each other and nothing is done. That is one of the major issues we have in Nigeria. Before this time, that a lot of organizations in agro, like this is what they call it, Nigerian quarantine, NAFDAC, all those people, they were at each other's throat. But we were able to, by the help of NICER, bring all these people under one roof. And we came up with an agreement and decided that this is how we want to approach it. All these groups would be here to inspect. Drug law enforcement agents will be in the inspect a product and certify it, and it leaves. There will be no need for each of these groups to be struggling and having among each other, which is affecting the success and progress of the country. So by the grace of God, I believe that all these issues will be sorted out or has already been sorted out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And from management principle consulting standpoint, it's not unique to Nigeria. US faced this as well. I think the 12, 14 government agencies operating in Nigeria, they were realizing that, or in Africa, they were realizing that China was winning US government when it comes to engagement. And there are 14 different agencies doing things in Africa. And that's one of the reasons they formed the Power Africa as an umbrella. And it's really an orchestrating body that coordinates the 14 agencies, because they realized that the 14 agencies were going into Africa, doing what they wanted to do, but it was tough to measure the impact and the force. So now under the Trump administration, basically what they did is Power Africa is not an agency, it's an initiative of the American government. And Power Africa now has the mandate to orchestrate the 14 agencies and to monitor the activities of those 14 agencies and to measure and to hold them accountable in terms of their delivery in Africa, because they were all over the place too. So from a management principle consulting, it happens in any big, mega, organization, be it government or anything. The way you mitigate it is to centralize. Maybe not, you don't form another agency, you don't, but you form an initiative. So for example, NEPC has the non-oil, zero oil plan. It shouldn't, in my opinion, please permit me, it shouldn't be an NEPC initiative. It should be an initiative of the federal government of Nigeria that all agencies align to. Yesterday, the NIPC talked about single window. Single window should not be owned by NIPC. It should be owned at the federal and open to all consulates and all Nigerian embassies all over the world. They should all have login access to that single window. That single window is just like hiding a candle under a bushel. Nobody sees it. Netherlands, Switzerland. Again, that's all I can tell you how the world players are doing. It's that these are management principles that when you have massive number of people, there has to be strategy, there has to be management of the resources. Otherwise, people are squandering, they're using resources, they're wasting it through non-value add activities. Everybody wants to show busyness. Everybody wants to show, in my agency, we are doing this. But it permits me to say Nigeria is bigger than any agency. Yeah. Nigeria is bigger than you and I. Nigeria is bigger than individual ego. That's my appeal. Let's put the interest of Nigeria first, please, sir. That's I beg, please. I beg, I appeal to you.
I agree with you 100%.
So I want to. Okay, please. Sorry. I am trying to move on. I don't know what Honorable Ella. So I want to quickly, Miss Judith has been online. Please, can you shorten your presentation? I wanted to end with a practical person on ground that in the private sector that is trying all that she has to build, to mobilize women, to do something. We've all talked, but I just wanted to end with her sharing her heart with us. Please, Miss Judith, I know you have a speech. I won't be able to introduce you formally the way, but please, your speech should encapsulate the work that you do, because this is ground zero of everything. If everything our agencies are doing, if we cannot move Miss Judith's work forward, then how can we help the other, like the statistic, like 80 million other SMEs? So please, I yield to you. Please use your time. I appeal to everybody. Please, I just want to give you that floor, Miss Judith. Quickly, please.
Thank you, Tony. Good day, everyone. My name is Judith Diallo. I'm not going to take much of your time. I am so excited to be here. But before Tony, bring together businesses across the shores of Africa to understand and explore the opportunities that are driven by the shared vision and values. Thank you, Nataru, once again for giving me this opportunity. I'm going to talk about my organization, Africa International Trade Women Network. We were established to connect, empower, and increase women business activities, both locally and internationally. And we've been doing this for some time now. Our network is actually a growing one. Presently, we have 330 women and 85 youths in our network. We have our headquarters in Lagos, and we also have a representation in Cameroon and also in South Africa. I believe that with the ratification of the African Continental Free Trade Area, we'll be able to, the agreement will be able to focus more on, helping women explore the international and local trade opportunities. There has been increased emphasis on the impact of security in almost every country, not just only Nigeria, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. For us, agribusiness is one which is of cardinal themes, and we assist African farmers in the value chain cluster farming. We are also aggregators, and we also take agri-produce. We coordinate basic processing, packaging, and storage according to the specification and requirements of final buyers. In fact, we practically take on the burden from the buyers and make their procurements seamless. We've also had some challenges in when dealing with, the women and also the youth. We've had, there's this knowledge, gap. There's lack of proper, coordination. There's among the farmers, they are still using, some kind of archaic methods of agriculture. And these archaic methods are not even efficient. And it has also led to low productivity, especially in the rural area. There's also lack of processing facilities. This is also a major problem. And there are no cottage factories around farming communities that will help them in processing agricultural produce before they are being transported to the market. In the rural area, we also notice that there's also storage facility problem. And the majority of food that are produced by farmers are also wasted. So if I'm even suggesting, like, if the government can even, or maybe private sector, anyone can come up with a mobile storage facility so that we can curb these losses. There's also unavailability of funds. This is also a major challenge to the business endeavor. Agribusiness in Nigeria do not have access to funds. And even when we do, these funds, the funds that we want to access, they come at a very, very exorbitant interest rate from the banks. So this is very, very difficult for us to, strive. I'm going to talk about our success stories. Despite the above named challenges that I've talked about, there's also potential, growth for the agriculture and agribusiness sector. It is very, very immense. In pursuing our goals, we want to help to build a sustainable community by empowering women businesses owners so that they can succeed via capacity development, information exchange, and promoting network. We have also trained 1,500 women as at 18th November 2020 in the tech space so that they can boost their own businesses using mediums such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Google. We've also been able to make available some farmlands for females and youths because of our relationships with the rural communities. It really has not really been that easy, but thank God. We have also trained women in capacity development in the areas of processing and packaging of goods for exports. We encourage women to key into our program so that we can improve the standards of living as well as boost their businesses. I've heard Mr. and Barrister where he spoke about a whole lot of things. Thank you for your key nuggets. I've heard Honorable. And we're also open for collaboration, for investment and partnerships, so we can grow the African businesses around the world. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Definitely, Barrister Kolawe, I think it's a great partner for you to connect with. There's been a lot of comments. Say thank you so much, Honorable. So I want to read a few comments here as we're wrapping up. Thank you so much, Honorable Charles Jumbo, for the interesting session. We look forward to the white paper. I wish to apply all panelists. That's Okoli's. Yes, and Jessica, you also said, you know, your network is open for collaboration. So thank you so much. I want to wrap up now. I want to thank everybody who has been a part of this, this Nigeria, you know, investment conference. I want to say thank you. I want to apologize as well. Usually we try to stick to time, but one of the things we did was we actually already made it 2 hours, which I know usually we do 4 hours a day, but it's because I respect your time, and a lot of people have been in different Zoom meetings, like yet another Zoom. Hopefully this has not been yet another Zoom for everybody that has been a part of this, and those that would watch, access it through our platform in the future. I want to thank everybody, but in closing, one of the roles I have is I serve as ambassador for Intra-African Trade Fair by appointment of the African Union and the African Export-Import Bank. So I'm going to share, you know, we're promoting the IATF 2021 currently. Next week, I'm hosting an engagement for the bank. So I'm going to share a video of under the umbrella of the AFCFTA, which is how Nigeria beyond oil, how we can grow regional and global trade under the AFCFTA. The IATF represents a platform that allows Nigeria to present its goods and services to the rest of Africa. So in 2018 was the launch of the IATF. And what I'm about to show is a video. We're wrapping up already, is the engagement that happened in various countries across Africa in mobilizing the private sector behind the AFCFTA. So in wrapping up, I want to say thank you for being a part of this maiden edition. It's not going to be the last, God willing. I'm going to collaborate and engage with Honorable Ella out of the Nigerian House, the Nigerian Consulate General out of New York. I'm going to engage with him to see how we can take this further. We will have an outcome report aggregating the feedback, a lot of it from this platform. I would now like to, before I show that video, I would like to welcome Honorable Ella. I know it's impromptu. I want him to just also help me thank everybody for being a part of this. So Honorable Ella, I'm going to spotlight you. Please, sir, help me to thank everybody. And I thank you too, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be with you all. I want to thank our panelists for their high quality participation and various inputs that they have made into this conversation to yesterday and today. Like Toyin rightly said, this is just the beginning. We have come to know ourselves now. Let's work together. Hopefully, we can work on another conversation shortly, take it where we are, look at what we have achieved, and see how we can drive this process together. We can also work in as a committee, both from the private sector and the government agencies present in this forum, to come up with actionable plans on what we can do. And I want to also use this opportunity to thank our host, Toyin Umesari. You've been a wonderful patriot, a very committed Nigerian. I know how passionate you have been to see how we can bring our products to the United States. And I think this platform provides a way for you to showcase your talent, your capacity, and your determination. I thank you all for the time you have had. And like Toyin said, we'll work on an outcome document that we will share so that we can now have it as a record of our conversation. I thank you all and God bless you. Look be looking forward to meeting you some other days.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you. I'm now going to play that video as we exit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Please watch the video. Okay, I'll pull it up directly from. Can everybody hear?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
There is no picture.
Oh, okay. Let me. Okay. Let me do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see? Okay, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Apologies.
Oh yeah. Okay, more. How are you?
No. Don't dance.
So thank you so much again. Africa is on the move, and Nigeria has the position to lead Africa into the future. It's been an honor. My name is Toyin Umesiri again, and hope to see you hopefully next time. God bless you all. Bye. So that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Honorable Ella. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, sir.
lovely.
Yes,
God
sir.
bless you.
God bless you too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Rocktown in the building.
I drive. Praise in the building. Rich boy in the building. I don't come to look face for ya. Time to overtake. I don't come to look face for ya.